Zari out. We're on the first step of 321 divided by 2. Cullen.
We see how many times our divisor can go in the first digit of our dividend.
We see how many times the divisor can go into the first digit of our dividend, which means we are doing what in numbers, Zari? Cullen told us we see how many times our divisor will go into the first digit of our dividend. So tell me what that means in numbers. We're seeing how many times what?
2 times 3.
You just told me we're doing this. Zari, come on. We've been doing this for 2 months. There's no excuse. It's because what is happening, those of you that are struggling, I need everybody's eyes on me. Those of you that are still struggling, I can tell you exactly why you're still struggling. A, or 1, you don't know your basic facts. B, or 2, you're not listening when other people are answering. You are tuning out saying, it's not my turn, I don't care what's going on, which is silly. It's not smart. Because you're missing everything that I am telling that person, all the tips, all the tricks. You are missing everything that that person is saying. I'm trying to tell you, with division, the steps never, ever change. The only thing that changes is the digits and numbers you're using. And if it's a word problem, the situation, the story. But nothing else ever changes. Step 1 of division is always see how many times the divisor goes into the dividend. Our divisor here is 2. The first digit of our dividend is 3. So the first step in this problem is to see how many times 2 goes into 3. Since Victoria's not here, I'm just going to go ahead and do the first one. 2 goes into 3 1 time. We always write the number of times the divisor goes into either the first digit or the first 2 digits right above the last digit of whatever we're working with. The next step is always, always, always multiply. The words to the multiply step never change. Whenever we are multiplying, we always multiply the digit we just got, whether it is in the hundreds place, the tens place, the ones place, the thousands place, whatever. Zari, here. Not over there off in the distance. So the multiply step is always multiply whatever digit you literally just wrote by the divisor. Nothing else. The words never, ever change. Just where you're looking in the quotient changes. So in this case, the digit we just wrote was 1. Our divisor is 2, which means we're multiplying 1 times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. We write that underneath whatever part of the dividend we're working with. In this case, we are only working with this first digit of our dividend, so we write the answer to the multiplication right underneath. The next step is always subtract. The words, the first part of the words to the subtract step never change. We always subtract the answer to the multiplication problem from, that never changes. Those words never change. We always subtract the answer to the multiplication from, and in this case, the first digit of our dividend. The only other option would be the first digit of our dividend, the first 2 digits of our dividend, or the new dividend. In this case, we have not used the second digit of our dividend yet. We have not created a new dividend yet. So the only other option is to subtract the answer to our multiplication problem from the first digit of our dividend. 3 minus 2 is 1. After we subtract, the next step is always, always, always check for something to bring down. We always look at our dividend when we're looking for something to bring down. Not our divisor, not our quotient, not our new dividend, not the answer to the multiplication or the answer to the subtraction. We only ever look at our dividend for something to bring down. We're looking from left to write for the first digit that has not been used yet. We go to our dividend. This first digit has been used. We have a digit underneath it. Our second digit has not been used. There's nothing underneath it. We are always going to put an arrow underneath whatever we're bringing down to make sure we know, hey, we've used it now. Once we bring down, we always create, focus, we always create a new dividend. The next step after bring down is always divide. Only one word of this step is going to change. We see how many times the divisor fits into that doesn't change. That's the same every time. But instead of saying the first digit of the dividend or the first two digits of the dividend, we're going to say the only other option, the new dividend. Our divisor is 2, our new dividend is 12. 2 fits into 12 6 times. The answer to the division step always goes above the digit we just brought down. It will either go above the first digit of the dividend if it's the very first step, or above the second digit of the dividend if it's the very first step, and the divisor couldn't fit into the first digit, or the digit we just brought down. We know it's not going to go above the first digit because we already used it. We already have something there. It's also not the very first step of this problem. We've already done 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. So that means it has to go above the digit we just brought down. We just brought down this 2. So the answer to our division step, 2 goes into 12 6 times, goes above the 2 we just brought down. Every single time we divide, the next step is always to multiply. Class, do the multiply words ever change? No.
No.
They are always exactly the same. The only difference is where we're looking in the quotient, We know the words are always multiply the digit you just got, as in whatever digit you literally just wrote with your pencil or pen or whatever, by the divisor. Does the divisor change when you're working in one division problem? If you're just looking at this problem right here, will our divisor ever change? No, it won't. The only time it changes is when we go on to work with our next problem. The digit that we just wrote will change. So if we multiply the digit we just got by our divisor, that means we're multiplying 6 times 2, which is 12. We always write the answer to the multiplication problem underneath what we just divided, the larger number that we just divided. Well, is the larger number 2 or 12? Which one's larger, 2 or 12? Ethan? 12. So we're going to write the answer to the multiplication, 6 times 2, underneath our new dividend. After we multiply, the next step is always to subtract. The beginning of the subtraction words never changes. And the end of the subtraction words is only one of 3 options. The first words are subtract the answer to the multiplication problem from. Those never change. The options for the second part are subtract the answer to the multiplication from the first digit of the dividend, if it's the first time you're subtracting, or the first 2 digits of your dividend, if the divisor doesn't fit into that first digit, but it's still the first time you're subtracting. This is not the first time we're subtracting, so that means we're subtracting from the only other option, the new dividend. We are subtracting the answer to our multiplication problem from our new dividend. 12 minus 12, focus, is 0. After we subtract, we always check for something to bring down. When we're checking for something to bring down, we don't look at our quotient, we don't look at our divisor, we don't look at the answers to multiplication, we don't look at the answers to subtraction, we don't look at new dividends. We only ever look at the original dividend. We look for something with no digit, no arrow underneath. We start on the left and we go to the right. We can't use this 3 because there's a digit. Can't use this 2 because there's an arrow. We can use this 1 because there's nothing. So we're going to draw an arrow to show that we brought it down. We're going to write that digit we just brought down. Every time we bring down, we always, always, always create a new dividend. Our new dividend here is 1. Every time we bring down, the next step is always, always, always to divide. Once after the first time you divide, the words never change. The words after the first time, the words to the divide step are always see how many times, which never changes, the divisor, which never changes, fits into the, or goes into the, which never changes, new dividend. It's either the first digit of the dividend, the first 2 digits of the dividend, or the new dividend. The only time it's the first digit of the dividend or the first 2 digits is the very first time you divide. That's it. We've divided a bunch already, at least twice. So we know it has to be how many times does the divisor fit into the new dividend? Does our divisor change when we're working with one problem? No, it stays the same until we start a brand new problem. The divisor is 2, our new dividend is 1, 2 fits into 1 0 times. Remember, the answer to the division part always goes above the last digit of whatever we divided. If it's not the first step, it goes above the digit we just brought down. We just brought down this 1, so that means 2 goes into 1 0 times, goes right above the 1 we just brought down. After we divide, we always, always, always multiply. Do the words to the multiply step ever change? Never. They are always exactly the same. We always multiply the digit we just got, literally the last thing I wrote was 0, by our divisor, which doesn't change until we start working on a brand new division problem. 0 is the digit I literally just wrote with my pen. 2 is our divisor. 0 times 2 is 0, which we're always going to write under either the first digit or the first 2 digits, if it's the first division step, or under the new dividend anytime after. Every time we multiply, the next step is always subtract. The first part of the subtraction step never changes. We always subtract the answer to our multiplication problem from either the first digit of the dividend or the first 2 digits if it's the first time we're subtracting. But every time after that, we subtract the answer to our multiplication problem from our new dividend. 1 minus 0 is 1. Every single time we subtract, the next step is to always check for something to bring down. Class, do we look for something to bring down in the quotient?
No.
Do we look for something to bring down in the divisor?
No.
No.
Do we look for something to bring down in the multiply step?
No.
No.
Do we look for something to bring down in the subtraction step?
No.
No.
Do we look for something to bring down in the step where we brought down before?
No.
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 The only place we ever look for something to bring down is the original dividend. We start on the left, we move to the right looking for something without a number, a digit, an arrow, whatever. First digit has a digit. Second digit has an arrow. Third digit has an arrow. There are no more digits, so I don't have anything to bring down, but I always need to check. Because later on, when you start working with 4, 5, 6, 7, however many digit dividends, you might have to keep checking to make sure you don't forget. If I have nothing to bring down, I'm ready to compare. That means I compare the answer to my last subtraction problem to my dividend. Always. That step, those words never change. Every time I'm comparing the answer to my last subtraction problem to the dividend. I always want to make sure the answer to the last subtraction problem is less than the dividend. 1 is less than 2, which means that 1 is our remainder. So 321 divided by 2 is 160, remainder 1. Now on this problem, we are looking for where to put O's, but we know it doesn't look like 160 R1. It looks like the quotient, 160, with the fraction where the remainder is on top and the divisor is on the bottom. So we are looking for 160 and 1/2 to put an O. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to look for 160 and 1/2 right here, right here, and that's it. So I have 2 O's. The first letter of my second word and the second letter of my last word. Okay. Zari, are you ready to do the next one? Were you listening that whole time? I hope that you were. Because it should not be taking us this long to do one problem. If it is taking you a really long time to do one problem, that means you really need to learn your basic facts, and you really need to make sure that you're focusing all the time. Every second, because you're missing a lot. You're not focusing and you're missing a lot. It is not normal to take 2 months on one math chapter. It is not. Our test will be this coming Monday, March 1st. We started this on January 5th. Our test was originally supposed to be February 3rd. So that is almost 1 month minus 2 days later, extra that we took. It should not be taking this long. It is because people don't know their basic facts, and because a lot of you, most of you I would say, are zoning out. I can see one person zoning out right now. You need to be sitting up straight. You need to be pushed close to your desk, as close as you can. And you need to have your pen in your hand. Okay. We have 30 minutes to finish 5 problems. That should really only take us maybe 10. That'd be like 2 minutes a problem. But even that's a little extra. I mean, 2 minutes a problem is probably okay with me having to do it out loud and me being like, okay, what's the next step? What's the next step? But on your own, with checking, it should probably be taking you like a minute, maybe 1 to 2 minutes on your own, at most. So we've got to get this, we've got to get quicker. Okay, Zari, next one is U, 624 divided by 6. I think that's what it says. I don't have a, yes. 624 divided by 6. So Zari, what do we do first? I'm even letting you tell me in numbers, which means it'll take even less time. Yes, Ethan. Zari hasn't had a chance to do it yet. So you're going to do, is that I? Yes, I. Okay. Okay, Zari. What do we do first? You can tell me in numbers.
We divide the first digit of our dividend from our divisor.
Okay, but that's not the words that we've been using for 2 months now. Remember, the divide step always starts with see how many times. Whether it's we're going in words or numbers, it always starts see how many times. So, see how many times what?
We see how many times
You can tell me in numbers.
dividend.
Then you can tell me in numbers.
We see how many times 6 will go into 6.
We see how many times our divisor 6 will go into the first digit of our dividend 6. How many times is that? Once. And we put that answer right above the 6 because that's all we're looking at. Okay, what do we do next? Zari, you can tell me in numbers.
We multiply the digit we just got by our divisor.
Which means we're doing what? I would like, guys, listen, I would like you guys to tell me in numbers, and I will repeat in words just so that we don't, just so that we can hopefully get through this and finish. So does everybody understand why I would like you to tell me in numbers? When I repeat for everybody to hear, I will repeat it with words and numbers, okay? So still make sure you're listening every step. Zari, so tell me in numbers what that means.
We'll do 1 times 6.
We multiply 1, the digit we just got, by 6, our divisor, and that equals
6.
6. We put that right underneath the only digit in the dividend we're working with, which is 6. What do we do next, Zari?
We subtract the first digit.
You can tell me in numbers, please.
We subtract 6 minus 6.
So we subtract 6, the answer to our subtraction problem. We subtract 6, the answer to our multiplication problem, from 6, the first digit of our dividend, to get what?
0.
0. We line that up, of course, with our subtraction problem. What do we do next, Zari?
We bring down the 2. And we bring down the...
You don't have to tell me, you already told me enough, okay? Because remember, we're just trying to get through. So we bring down, Zari told us we bring down the 2 because it's the next digit in our dividend that has not been used. We just created our new dividend, which is what, Zari?
2.
2. Okay, what do we do next? We just brought down. The next step after we bring down is always to do what?
Divide.
Divide, which means we're doing what? Remember the divide step, whether we're doing words or numbers, always starts with see how many times the. But you can tell me in words, or not the. See how many times. The is only with words. Sorry, go ahead.
We see how many times our new dividend would go into.
Please tell me in numbers.
We see how many times 2 would go into 6.
So we're seeing how many times our new dividend 2 will go into our divisor 6. Is that correct, Zari? Is that what we did here, where we saw how many times our first dividend 6 would go into our divisor 6?
No.
No. Who can help her out? Lena, can you help her out? Loudly so she can hear.
We see how many times 6 can go into 2.
Good. Zari, did you hear? Or do you need me to repeat what Lena just said?
I heard her.
Okay, so what do we do next?
We see how many times the 6 would go into the 2.
We see how many times our divisor 6 will go into our new dividend 2. How many times is that?
0 times.
0 times. And remember, unless we are in the very first division step, the answer to the division part always goes above the digit we just brought down. We just brought down this 2, so we're putting 0, the answer to our division step. How many times 6 will go into 2? Right above that 2 we just brought down. Okay, Zari, what do we do next?
We multiply 0 times 6.
We multiply 0, the digit we just got, by 6, our divisor, to get what?
0.
0. Which we always, unless it's the very first time we multiply, we always line up with our new dividend. What do we do next?
We subtract 2 minus 0.
We subtract 2 minus 0, which means we're subtracting the answer to our multiplication problem from our new dividend. 2 minus 0 is?
2.
2. Every time we subtract, what comes next?
Bring down.
Bring down. Where do we look for something to bring down?
We look at a digit in our dividend.
We look at our dividend. What digit are we going to bring down, Zari?
The 4.
The 4. The only one we have not used yet. We just created our new dividend, which is what, Zari?
24.
24. Okay, we just created a new dividend. What is always the next step after we bring down?
Divide.
Divide. What are we doing? Remember the divide step, whether we're doing words or numbers, always starts with see how many times. So tell me in numbers.
How many times 6 would go into 24?
Good. We see how many times our divisor 6 will go into our new dividend 24. How many times is that, Zari?
4 times.
4 times. Remember, unless it's the very first step, the answer to the division step goes right above the digit we just brought down. We just brought down this 4, so that means the answer to how many times 6 goes into 24 is 4. Okay, what next? Zari, we just divided. What is always the next step?
We multiply 4 multiplied by 6.
So we multiply the digit we just got 4 by our divisor 6, which equals
24.
24. We just multiplied. What is always the next step, Zari?
Subtract.
Subtract. What are we subtracting? You can tell me in numbers.
24 minus 24.
24 minus 24, because that means we're subtracting the answer to our multiplication problem, 24, from our new dividend 24, which equals
0.
0. We just subtracted. What do we always do next?
We check to see if there is anything to bring
We
down.
check for something to bring down. Is there something to bring down, Zari?
No.
No. So what do we always do if there's nothing to bring down? Focus. Not you, Zari, but keep going.
We compare.
We compare. We compare the answer to our subtraction problem, 0, to our divisor, 6, to make sure that 0 is what than 6?
Lower.
Less. Let's use the math word, less. Is
Less.
0 less than 6, Zari?
Yes.
Which means 0 is our,
Remainder.
do we write our 0?
No.
No. So we know 624 divided by 6 is what, Zari?
104.
104. So now we're looking down here for 104 with no fraction, because we have no remainder, and there's no such thing as a fraction with 0 in the top and 6 on the bottom. So we're just looking for 104. And we're going to put a U. So there's only one, and it is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th blank of the first word. Okay, Ethan, are you ready for your problem? Okay, we have 20 minutes to finish 4 problems. Okay, Ethan, we have 327 divided by 3. What do we do first? You can tell me all in numbers. So we see how many times our divisor 3 will go into the first digit of our dividend, 3, which is how many times? Just one time. We are only working, this is the first step. When we do the first step and we place the answer to the division, we only look at what we're working with so far, whether that's the first digit or the first 2 digits. Ethan, are we working with this digit right here, this first digit? Are we working with this second digit? No. So the answer to the division step goes above only what we're working with so far when it's the first step. What do we do next, Ethan? Let's go in the same order, though. We multiply the digit we just got, which is, what's the digit we just got? Times our divisor, which is, so 1 times 3 is 3. Again, we're going to write that. This is the first multiplication step. So we don't have a new dividend to line it up with. But again, we're just looking at what we're working with so far. Ethan, are we working with the first digit? Are we working with the second digit? No. So the answer to our multiplication goes only under what we're working with so far when it's the first time. What do we do now? We subtract. What are we subtracting? We're subtracting the answer to our multiplication problem, 3, from the first digit of our dividend, 3, which is 0. And of course, subtraction always lines up with the subtraction problem. Every time we subtract, what comes next? Think for a chant. Bring down. Good. We're looking at the dividend. Are we going to use this first digit of our dividend? No. Remember, we moved from left to right. First digit already has a digit. What about the second digit? Yes, because does it have anything underneath it? No. So we can bring it down. Ethan, will we ever bring down 2 digits at one time? No. So we're only going to bring down the 2. We created a new dividend. What is that new dividend? 2. Next, every time we bring down, what's the next step? Think of our chant. Divide. What are we doing? We're seeing how many times? We're seeing how many times our divisor 3 can go into our new dividend 2, which is how many times? 1 time? If we have 2 boxes? Good, because if we have 2 boxes and we try to put 3 objects in without overflowing, can we do that? No, we overflowed, right? So we can't do that. So 3 only goes into 2 how many times? 0 times. Remember, since this is not the first time we're dividing, the answer to the division step goes above the digit we just brought down. We just brought down this 2. So that answer to the division goes right above the 2. What do we do next? Just try the opposite. Flip it. Same numbers. I know you know the numbers. Just flip it. Ooh, we just divided. What's always the next step? Multiply. I know you know the digits, but remember we start with the digit we just got, which is, what did we just literally write? 0 times our divisor, which is, what's our divisor? 3. Good. The digit we just got, 0, times our divisor 3 is 0. And we line that up. Since it's not the first time we're multiplying, we just line it up with our new dividend. What do we do next? Ethan, you can tell me numbers. 2 minus 0, because we're subtracting the answer to our multiplication problem from our new dividend, which equals 2. We just subtracted, so next step is 2. Bring down. Can we bring down this 3? Nope, it has a digit. Can we bring down this 2? Nope, it has an arrow. Can we bring down this 7? Yes, it has nothing. We just created our new dividend, which is 27. Now we're seeing how, our next step, sorry, we just brought down, so now we are going to multiply. What comes after divide? What comes after bring down every time? Divide. We are seeing how many times our divisor 3 can go into our new dividend, 27, which is how many times? 7, what's 9 times? Good. Since this isn't the first time we're dividing, we put our 9 right above the digit we just brought down, which was the 7. What do we do next, Ethan? What operation? We just divided, so now we multiply. What are we multiplying? 3. Well, we're going to multiply the digit we just got times the divisor. So the digit we just got, 9, times our divisor 3, which equals 27. It's not the first time we multiplied, so we're just going to line it up with the new dividend. Whoops. What do we do next? What do we subtract? We subtract the answer to our multiplication problem, 27, from our new dividend, 27, to get, which is 0. What do we do next? We just subtracted, so we always check for, but before we compare, just in case, we want to check for something to bring down. Do we have anything to bring down? No. So now we can We can compare. We want to make sure that the answer to our subtraction problem, focus, is less than our divisor. Is the answer to our subtraction problem 0 less than our divisor 3? Yes. So that means 0 is the remainder. Do we write our 0? No. So 327 divided by 3 is 109. So we are looking, again, we have no remainder, so we're not going to have a fraction. We're just looking for 109 to put an I. Oh, I have 109 and 3/5. Will I put it there? Nope, because that means there's a remainder. The remainder would be 3. Our divisor would be 5. So I put my I. I only have one I, and it's the second to last letter of the whole thing. Okay, Cullen, are you ready for your problem? Okay, we have, oh my gosh, 13 minutes. Okay, 410 divided by 2. What do we do first?
Divide. We see how many times 2 can go into 4.
We see how many times our divisor 2 will go into the first digit of our dividend 4, which is how many times?
2 times.
2 times. Since this is the first division step, I write the answer to the division right above whatever I'm working with. Am I working with 4 or 41, Cullen?
4.
4. So that means the answer is going to go right above the 4. Now what?
Now we multiply the digit we just got by our divisor.
So tell me in numbers.
Oh, 2 times 2.
We multiply the digit we just got by our divisor. 2 times 2 is
4.
4. Now to line this up correctly, we need to figure out what we're working with. Are we working with, go ahead, you can open it up. Are we working with 4 or 41, Cullen?
4.
4. So the answer to our multiplication 2 times 2, which is, I can't remember if you said it,
4.
goes underneath only the digit we're working with. Okay, girls, we still have 3 more that we're going through together. So you can just listen and make sure. Okay, Cullen, what do we do next?
We subtract. We subtract 4 minus 4.
We subtract the answer to our multiplication problem, 4, from the first digit of our dividend, 4, to get
0.
0. What always happens after we subtract?
We compare. Well, we bring down.
We can compare, but maybe next year I'll teach that step. But yeah, so we bring down. We go to our dividend. Can we bring down this 4?
No.
No, it has a digit. Can we bring down this 1?
Yes.
Yes, it has nothing. We just created our new dividend, which is
1.
1. What do we do next? Every time we just brought down, now we divide again. What does that mean?
We see how many times our divisor
Can you tell me in
we
numbers?
can see how many 2 can go into 1.
We see how many times our divisor 2 will go into our new dividend 1, which is how many times?
0.
0. This is not the first division step, so we're going to write the answer above the digit we just brought down. We just brought down the 1, so our answer goes right above. What do we do next?
We multiply.
What do we multiply?
The digit
Numbers.
0 times 2.
The digit we just got 0 times our divisor 2, which equals?
0.
It's not the first time we've multiplied, so we just line that up with our new dividend. What do we do next?
Subtract.
Subtract. What are we subtracting?
1 minus 0.
We're subtracting the answer to our subtraction problem, 0, from our new dividend 1 to get
1.
1. What do we do next? We just subtracted.
We bring down.
Do we have anything to bring down?
Yes.
What do we have to bring down?
A 0.
A 0. We use the 4, we use the 1, so now we bring down the 0. We just created our new dividend, which is
10.
10. What do we do next? We just brought down, so now we
Divide.
divide.
We see how many times 2 can go into 10.
We see how many times our divisor 2 will go into our new dividend 10, which is how many times?
5 times.
This is not the first time we divide, so we write it above the digit we just brought down. Now what do we do?
Multiply 5 times 2.
We multiply 5, the digit we just got, by our divisor 2 to get
10.
10. We line that up with our new dividend since it's not the first time we multiplied, and now we do what?
We subtract.
What do we subtract?
10 minus 10.
10 minus 10. We subtract the answer to our multiplication problem 10 from our new dividend 10 to get
0.
0. We just subtracted. What do we do next?
Compare.
Before that,
Oh, we see if there's something to bring down.
we bring down. Do we have anything to bring down?
No.
So now we compare. Is the answer to our subtraction problem 0 less than our divisor 2?
Yes.
Which means 0 is the,
Remainder.
but we don't write our 0. We just leave it as 410 divided by 2 equals.
205.
So now we're looking to put S's wherever 205 is. So just one, the 6th letter of our first word. Okay, Carla, you're next. Are you ready?
Yes.
Carla, please make sure that you're just telling me in numbers because we have 8 minutes for Carla and Lena, and I think we can do it.
Okay.
Okay.
If I was practicing what to say with Colin.
Good. Okay. Oops, I forgot the 5. Okay, what do we do first, Carla?
We see how many times 5 can go into 5.
We see how many times our divisor 5 will go into the first digit of our dividend 5, which is how many times?
1 time.
1 time. This is the first division step, so we put it above whatever we're working with. Carla, are we working with 5 or are we working with 54?
We are working with 5.
So 1 goes right above the 5. Okay, now we know we're only going to line the next 3 steps up with just 5, not 54. Okay, Carla, what do we do next? Tell me in numbers.
Next, we multiply the
Tell me in numbers.
Now we multiply 1. We multiply 1. We multiply 5 times 1.
Okay, but remember, we always start with the digit we just got. So we multiply the digit we just got, 1, by our divisor 5, which equals?
Which equals 5.
Which equals 5. Remember, we're only working with 5, not 54, so we line that up with the 5. What do we do next, Carla?
Now we subtract.
What are we subtracting? Tell me in numbers.
We are subtracting 5 minus 5.
We subtract the answer to our multiplication problem 5 from the first digit of our dividend 5 to get
0.
0. We just subtracted. Now we
bring down.
do we have something to bring down?
Yes.
What do we bring down?
We bring down 4.
We bring down the next available digit in our dividend, which is 4. We have 5 minutes. We just created a new dividend, which is
4.
okay, what do we do next? Tell me in numbers. Lena, if we have to take like 5 extra minutes, that's
We
okay.
see how many times 5 go into 4.
We see how many times our divisor 5 will go into our new dividend 4, which is how many times, Carla? Everybody focus. Don't, just because it's not your turn and you know you don't have another turn coming up, you still need to listen. Sorry, Carla, go ahead. 0. 5, our divisor goes into our new dividend 4, 0 times. This is not the first time we're dividing, so we know we line up the answer to division with the digit we just brought down. Okay, what do we do next, Carla?
Next, we subtract.
Do we subtract? What always we just divided. What always comes after dividing?
Multiply.
Multiply. What do we multiply?
We multiply 0 from 5. Multiply 0 by 5.
Good. We multiply 0, the digit we just got, by 5, our divisor, to get 0, which we line up with our new dividend. Remember, guys, we multiply by and we divide by, we subtract from, and we add to. Okay? Those words are important. You may be like, why are those words important? Well, they are. Okay. What do we do next, Carla?
Now we subtract.
What do we subtract?
We subtract 0 from 4.
We subtract the answer to our multiplication problem, 0, from 4, our new dividend, to get
4.
good. We just subtracted, so now we
Bring down.
bring down. Do we have something to bring down?
Yes.
What is
we
it?
have the 8 to bring down.
We have the 8 to bring down. So we just created a new dividend, which is
48.
48. There you go. Now we just brought down, so now we
divide.
We divide. What are we doing? We're seeing how many times?
We see how many times 48, how many times 5 go into 48.
We see how many times our divisor 5 goes into 48. Carla, I know you're good with your basic facts, so how many times does 5 go into 48?
It goes into 48 9 times.
9 times. Very good. This is not the first time we're dividing, so we line the answer to the division up with the digit we just brought down. Okay, good. What do we do next?
Now we multiply.
What do we multiply?
We multiply 9 by.
You got
we
it.
multiply 9 times 8.
Not 9 times 8. 9 times
5.
9 times 5. There you go. I knew you had it. We multiplied the digit we just got, 9, by 5 to get what, Carla?
We take 9
So
and
just tell me, 9 times 5 is what, Carla?
9 times 5 equals 45.
45, which we line up with our new dividend. Now what do we do?
Now we subtract.
What are we subtracting?
We're subtracting 55
Oh.
from.
Go slow, go slow. You flip the numbers. We subtract.
45 from 48.
Good. You just accidentally flipped the numbers and said 54. That's okay. We subtract the answer to our multiplication problem, 45, from our new dividend, 48, to get what? What number? Just tell me the number.
Get 3.
To get 3. We just subtracted. Now we do what?
Now we see if we need to bring down anything.
Do we have anything to bring down?
No.
So now we just compare. Is the answer to our subtraction problem 3 less than our divisor 5?
Yes.
So 3 is the...
3 is the remainder.
So that means 548 divided by 5 is...
109, remainder 3.
Good. So now, because we have a remainder, to put the H, we are looking for 109 and 3/5. So we're looking at the blanks. So only one H, the second letter of the fourth word. Okay, last one. Lena, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. You have 6 minutes. But I think you can do it. Okay, so our last problem, to find the T, we're doing 835 divided by 4. Step 1, first operation we do is
See how many times 4 can fit to 8.
we divide to see how many times our divisor 4 will fit into the first digit of our dividend, 8, which is 2 times. Lena, are we working with 8 or 83?
8.
8. So that means the answer to the division goes only above the 8. What do we do next?
We multiply.
What are we multiplying?
2 times 4.
The digit we just got 2 by our divisor 4 to get
8.
8. We know we're working with 8 and not 83, so the answer to our multiplication lines up with that 8. What do we do next?
Subtract.
What are we subtracting?
8 minus
8 minus 8. We're subtracting the answer to our multiplication problem, 8, from our first digit of our dividend, 8, which equals
8.
0. We just subtracted, so next we,
Bring down.
do we have something to bring down? What are we going to bring down?
3.
3. It's the next digit that we haven't used yet. We just created a new dividend, which is
3.
3. We just brought down. What do we do next?
We see how many times 4 can fit to 3.
Good. We divide to see how many times our divisor 4 will fit into our new dividend 3, which is how many times?
0.
0. Now this isn't the first time we're dividing, so we line the answer to our division up with what we just brought down. What do we do next?
Now we multiply.
What are we multiplying?
See 0 times 4.
The digit we just got 0 by our divisor 4 to get 0. Now this is not the first time we are multiplying, so we just line it up with our new dividend. What do we do next?
Now we subtract.
What are we subtracting?
3, 0.
3.
3 minus 0.
There you go. We subtract the answer to our multiplication problem from our new dividend. 3 minus 0 is
3.
3. What do we do next?
Bring down.
Bring down. Do we have something to bring down?
Yes.
What do we have?
The 5.
A 5. So we just created our new dividend, which is
35.
35. We just brought down, so what do we do next?
See how many times 4 can fit to 35.
We divide to see how many times our divisor 4 will fit into our new dividend 35. How many times is that?
5.
What's 4 times 5? How? 20? Do you think there's something closer?
Yes.
Probably. What about 4 times 6?
24.
Should we check for something closer? 28. Now we're getting close, but we should probably check for something closer. I'm going to leave that there though. She's got it. It's the same thing as 32. Ooh, that's a lot closer than 28, right? But let's check just to make sure. Actually, wait, let's look. Is there more than 4 numbers between 32 and 35? No. If we add 4 to this, what do we get?
36.
Which is bigger than this, right? So that means 4 has to go into 35 how many times?
5. 4.
We just did all that division to figure it out. We figured out that 4 times 8 is 32, which is less than 4 numbers away from 35, which means how many times does 4 go into 35 without going over?
3.
We figured out 4 times 7 is 28, and 4 times 9 is 36. We figured that out because 32 plus 4 is 36. So 4 goes into 32 8 times. Remember, division and multiplication are just backwards. So 32 divided by 8 equals 4. 4 times 8 equals 32. So 4 goes into 35 how many times? 8 times. This is not the first time that we are dividing, so that means we line it up with what we just brought down. What do we do next?
Now we see how many times.
Oh, we just divided, so next we are,
We multiply.
which means we're multiplying.
8 times 4.
We're multiplying the digit we just got. 8, focus! Just because we're almost done does not mean you get to tune out, because that'll help you for tomorrow. We multiply the digit we just got, 8, times our divisor 4, which equals 32. What do we do next?
Subtract.
What are we subtracting?
35 minus 32.
We're subtracting the answer to our multiplication problem, 32, from our new dividend 35 to get 3. We just subtracted. We always do what next?
Bring down.
Do we have anything to bring down?
No.
So we can skip to the next step, which is
Compare.
compare. Is the answer to our subtraction problem 3 less than our divisor 4?
Yes.
So that means 3 is the,
Remainder.
so that means 835 divided by 4 is,
208. Remainder 3.
so we're looking for 208 and 3/4 to put a T. Well, there's only one blank left, but I'm going to check it just to make sure that I don't have the wrong number. And that is exactly 208 and 3/4. So that means, there's where my T is. So class, why are graveyards noisy?
Because of all the coffins.
Because of all the coffin. Now, do they literally mean like coffins? Like what people go in when they die? No, but coffin sounds a lot like what word? Zadie.
Coughing.
Coughing, which coughing makes a lot of noise. Okay, good. Only 6 minutes over, which is okay, but we're going to keep getting it down. Okay, go ahead and put that in your math folder. Put your red pens away. Get out your vocab notebooks. And I need to pass out Phantom Tollbooth. So while we're transitioning, I will pass out the class's copies of Phantom Tollbooth. But everybody go ahead, get out vocab notebooks. Girls at home, also get out Phantom Toll Booth.